Thank you so much. And I won't stand between you and this August group a lot, but I think over the last decade and a half, as I've been looking at financial services and definition of customer experience, of saying, oh, going to a branch, going to visit a financial institution is a half day leave from work, to a time and day and age where things are in your fingertips, maybe soon will be in your sleep as well. So the experience, I think, is the whole paradigm has shifted. Uh, our customers are not measuring financial services on the bar of what FS players deliver, but they are measuring that on the bar of what consumer tech and other fast customer oriented spaces have uh, migrated towards. Within BFSI, I think payments has definitely set a very different experience, and we're definitely global leaders there. So let's go bit deeper of how this whole credit-oriented offering that we have. What does customer experience really mean, and what are the trade-offs that these institutions are grappling with to give the best experience? So without further ado, what we'll do is we'll go around the panel, and they'll quickly introduce themselves and give an opening remark on what does customer experience mean for them as from their vantage point. So Shiva, will start with you and come back towards me.
Hey, hello everyone. So I'm Sivakumar, Chief Digital Officer of Fedbank Financial Services. At Fedbank Financial Services, we do loans for loan against property, home loan, gold loan, and business loan. So I'll try to bring the contextual and user scenarios which we have real-time faced in our organization to this panel. To me, customer experience in a single line is basically consider in the total Indian context. Customer is a guest who is coming to your home. How do you maintain relationship with him? Whether you treat the guest properly, they'll come back again. They'll have good words about you. Something would happen, and similar is the customer experience. We are the host. If whenever they come to our portal, whenever they come to our branch, whenever they download the app, we are the hosts, and customers are nothing but the guests. That's how I would say it.
Hi everyone. I'm Rishabh Garg, CTO at Euro Capital. So we are into MSME, SME financing space. We are into unsecured, secured, and SME financing loans. For me, customer experience is not about beautiful UIs. It's all about how effortless you make for the customer to achieve his goals. In our case, the goal is to onboard a customer. So customer downloaded our mobile application to get a credit line or loan, and we make this possible by providing a seamless experience to the customer. So we intend to take minimal data inputs on the customer, and within our expectation is that within 5 to 7 minutes, customer should be able to get a credit line what he needed.
Hi, my name is Swapnil. I'm Vice President Product at Avanti Finance, Avanti Finance Private Limited. My company is mandated by Mr. Tata and Mr. Nilankani. They are the founders. And the mandate that we have is to cause financial inclusion in the most needy 100 million households of the country. Urban, rural, doesn't matter. But the financial inclusion at population scale using technology that is open access digital pipeline that will be available and will be designed in a manner of kind of a public good. Customer experience for me is serving people who don't even have a smartphone, who may not even have a feature phone, and who may not even know the languages that the tech people are using today. And then how does financial inclusion happen to them, and how does financial inclusion actually create prosperity in their life?
Hi. Hello, everyone. My name is Kapil Kapoor. I'm the Chief Product Officer and Chief Tech Officer of CredAble. So CredAble is a fintech. We offer a digital platform to large enterprises in India where they can do supply chain financing with their supply chain and dealers. We are also an NBFC who participates on that digital platform. For small and medium enterprises, even micro enterprises, we offer embedded finance and an embedded credit solution. And finally, we are partners to large financial institutions. We offer them banking as a service. We have a broad portfolio of products around core banking, transaction banking, lending origination, and beyond banking. So for me, simplifying customer experience is kind of having a deep understanding of your target customer segment, and then using technological solutions, whether it's the cloud and data analytics, to make sure that you create greater personalization and also social mobility.
Hi. Happy evening. Myself TK Balaji. Thanks to ETBFSI and thanks to all the panel members. I do represent Inditrade Scaler HL Limited. We do own a platform where we connect our financial ecosystem. For me, customer experiences from a thought process itself. For me, first of all, they're not a borrower, they are a customer. So that thought process is first need to be there with the entire banking ecosystem and NBFC system. Second thing, if I go to YouTube or Netflix or Amazon, anything, I don't give any inputs, but they know what is my recommendation next I need to do. But here we capture hundreds of fields, but still we are struggling with what product offering need to be done for the customers. So that's my customer experience takeaway.
Thank you, everyone. And as they were going around, I'm sure you will realize that this panel here is serving from the most needy 100 million households to enterprises, from SME livelihood loans to supply chain finance to gold loans. And the thought that it triggers is, do all of these customers really have the same expectation of what a simplified, great experience is? How do you really measure it? So I think what would be great is to do another round through the panel to understand the personas of customers that you're serving and how do you define customer experience before we really get into simplifying it. So Balaji, maybe we'll go from you this time first.
Yeah, so I do represent a segment like mostly my star product is for SME customers. I also offer a personal loan other products also. For me, like if you see, like most of the NBFCs or banks, after taking multiple data, could be like 30-40% could be success rate. But we don't go back to the customer and say, what is the reason of failure? So many people apply, but the failure reason nobody is aware of it. You don't even communicate properly. So what I do is, first of all, I see all these data points and see what is the reason of this failure. For example, it could be a business customer SME loan you would applied. Most of the reason could be average bank balance could be low. But we should be in a position to tell to them, fine, what is the balance you have? Just go beyond the relationship. What is the balance you have in a drawer? Can you just take that money and keep it every day in your bank? So we do train the people, and after 6 months or 3 months, we go back to the same customer and say, what is your average bank balance now? Can you just give me only the bank statement? I'll process it. So this kind of extra relationship, can you do it to the customer? So that's what we want to experience it.
That's an interesting thought.
So great question, I must say, Misha. So I think for me, great customer experience involves making sure that there is frictionless user journey that happens and there are memorable experiences. I mean, obviously, these are things that even large businesses and struggle to kind of make sure that it happens smoothly. So, and especially if you look at now, I mean, there's tremendous growth going to come in NBFCs, and especially the demand for credit is growing at a very high rate, which kind of is a kind of a tremendous opportunity for all the players. So it's very important that whatever are the key metrics for customer experience, those are being tracked by the organization. Now, for us, those are CSAT, retention, churn, price sensitivity, kind of trust ratings, brand reputation. So those are all kind of metrics that we track to make sure that we understand the customer's experience. And then again, I think it's very important that you measure them throughout the journey of the customer, and then you have an integrated understanding of that. And once you can kind of have that integrated understanding of the customer's experience through these metrics, then you can actually make sure that your service delivery is high, and then you're also kind of creating customer delight. So that to me is great customer experience.
Oh, I think anyways, what can't be measured can't be changed. So measuring and imbibing that into the DNA of an organization, I'm sure, is the start of the success. Swapnil, you serve a very different ambition and a persona of customers. What is customer experience for from your vantage point?
So I'm very fortunate that I was one of the kind of the founder members of the product team. So I got a chance of starting it. And the question when we started doing various kinds of experiences for our customers, people, whatever, the question was often that we battled with was why? Why do you want to do this? And the answer was always why not? So essentially, when you say that, oh, this person is not yet ready for this kind of experience, right? You say why not? And then you figure out what the problems are and kind of so this question of why can't this happen to people who we have left behind altogether, that was my kind of the basic principle. But again, I look at this experience in a three or four dimensions. One is the UX, right, where what you're clicking, how fast your app is going, is it delightful, is it easy, all that. But again, the customers that I serve are, like I said, they don't even have smartphones, maybe one feature phone in the whole family. Sometimes they won't understand the language that you're talking even, right? So in that paradigm, what is the UX? The minute 2-minute experience or 30-minute experience that the person has with me. Then comes the customer experience, where how good my offering is. So if somebody is a farmer whose income happens once in 3 months, and I'm offering them loans where the repayment frequency is monthly, that doesn't really make sense. That is bound to be default there, right? So that is CX. And then the third aspect that we now actively begin to measure is the life experience. So if a farmer or if a woman entrepreneur has engaged with my company or my loan system, my credit system, or the formal finance system of the world for 3, 4, 5 years, where has she reached in her prosperity is also a life experience. So in this panel and in this forum, I just want to take a slightly 30,000 feet view where I say that let's not just think about what we are clicking and what colors are coming on the screen. It's also a life experience in the long term.
Well, I think that's a very deep thought, right? Of adding a sense of purpose of what role you're playing in your customer's life as a definition of what customer experience really is. Swapnil, really thanks for sharing that. Rishabh, how about you? You serve businesses, SMEs, etc. What is customer experience?
So, traditionally for Ugro, it's a branch-led channel. So we have more than 100 branches, and the kind of model we do have is a kind of digital model, where a customer can just walk into a branch and can apply for a loan, or our relationship manager can approach the customer and fill out a loan application on his behalf on a mobile application. So ideally, from the day one, our aim is to have a minimal paper journey. So idea is to collect data through various third-party sources and ask little from the customer, basically. So all the bureau checks, banking data, GST data, all are fetched through third-party sources, basically. So that's the kind of experience we provided. It's a kind of mix of both assisted and digital experience for the customer, and it helped us in onboarding and quick decisioning on worthiness of a customer. Even we recently launched a direct-to-customer mobile application, GrowX. Here also we are assigning a credit line to a customer in just flat 7 minutes. Now all the credit checks are automated. Though for different customer segments, the assistance required is different. For larger ticket size items, assistance is on the higher side, where a person physically assists them in resolving all their queries and getting all the data. On a digital only channel, it's a backend team which whenever customer gets stuck on a mobile application, backend team just pops us a message on a mobile application itself, will help him to navigate the interface and help him solve him all the queries. So that kind of customer experience we are providing right now. And for me, the clear metrics is the goal completion, basically whether he gets a credit line or not. That's my clear metrics for me. Though we are measuring the time spent on each of the pages on the mobile application, whether it's an app issue, whether it's a credit policy issue, we look into each and every aspect of the goal completion, basically. If there is a trade policy which needs to be tweaked to achieve that goal, then we do all that tweaking in real time, and it immediately gets reflected on the mobile application.
That's an interesting type of empowerment and flexibility. And I think I'm sure folks would love to know later more about how do you really translate this into a reality. It's easier said than done than what you just shared. Shiva, you also drive a very digital business ranging from gold assets to SME loans, very different type of possibilities for technology. How do you define customer experience?
Misha, like you rightly pointed, we have customers at gold loan to business loan. Gold loan guys doesn't may not have even civil or ID or nothing, whereas business loan customers has entire data of financials, their annual reports, P&L statements, registration certificates, everything put together. One side it may be secured backed, other side it may be unsecured. So handling every part of the customers right from gold loans to this thing is a challenging task. What I would believe in customer experience is a three-step model. Whatever the product platform which you make for customer, is that product working properly? Like how Swapnil has pointed, whether there is a lag in some page, is it buffering, is it not getting routed to the right place? So this is the answer for is the product working properly. Second question is customer able to use your product? You might have made a lot of fancy thing completely written in English, high funda codes, and now if you have a customer who is struggling to read it or understand, then it doesn't serve the purpose. So whatever you make it an unified place should be useful for across all the segments. So is the customer able to use the product? Is the second principle. Third principle is once the customer uses the product, is there a win-win happening for company as well as customer? So the kind of proposition you put into the product and the user experience you give it to the customer, whether it is resulting in a positive win for both the sides, brings the conclusion. That's how I put the customer experience into three methods.
Thank you, Shiva. That's quite deep. Let's change tracks a bit on now that we have a sense of what customer experience stands for you. Let's go a little into the trenches of how you've been going about simplifying this customer experience and crafting the strategy for your organizations. Swapnil, a bit back to you, given you anyways provoked a lot of thoughts from life experience, etc. So how are you simplifying experience to deliver this purpose?
Actually, you got me started here on this. Uh, you said something about taking a half-day leave for getting some work done and all that, right?
There was a time.
Yeah, and if I take today a leave for my parent-teacher meeting, for instance, for my son, my salary still comes, right? But the customers that I am dealing with, if I ask her to walk 5 kilometers to a center and then spend 3 hours whatever doing something, and she goes back, and then I say, hey, okay, so I've taken your application, we will issue your sanction letter, please come again. That's just cruel. And I couldn't claim to be a technology provider if this was the CX, customer experience, I was going to give, right? And then the legal guy says, look, you go to a bank, you say, I want loan. Bank says, okay, we can give you not 1 lakh, but 90,000. Great. So then they issue a sanction letter. Then you say, okay, I agree to the sanction letter. Then the agreement happens, right? Then you sign, and then the disbursal happens. We said we want to do all of this in flat 20 minutes. So how do we do? So we had a huge fight with our legal team. I had a huge fight with all sorts of things. But eventually what we solved it was not so much by technology, but by a legal innovation where we say we'll go for a conditional agreement. Where we'll say, these are the loan terms and agreement, right? And if we approve the loan, then these terms and conditions will become our agreement. So flat 30 minutes, the customer walked away. And also because it's assisted mode, now the people who are working on the ground started going to the customer's locations. And so we literally, the day they signed up with us, we saved them 3-4 days of daily wages right there. So that was one of the, like you said, trenches, right? But essentially, there's a concept of see, when Green Revolution happened, we told the farmers how to farm, right? Some other revolution, we tell people how to do. Instead of doing that, we got to go and say, hey, what are you doing? And how can we just get embedded into your lifestyle and your things? And we only are a side, we are just a support system, a credit provider for you to do what you do best. I think philosophically that, and this example was to just give you one example of the trenches, how it works in trenches.
Oh, and I think your philosophy of why not is very much exemplified in the example. Shiva, how about you? You're stuck with some products which, frankly, at least in the current avatar, can never go into a full digital mode, which seems to be the only answer to experience in general. But I'm sure you're doing enough and more in the phygital world. What are you doing there to solve these challenges?
In fact, I'll take the example from what you have said. So basically the gold loan, where there is an physical ornament involved, and that needs you to go to the branch or the restaurant. There has to be definitely physical interface. So in these cases, while Swapnil has spoken on onboarding experience, I'll speak on the customer relationship experience, some of the use case which we have got in the recent past. So all of you know that the gold prices have increased, right? And there is a top-up facility available for the gold. When the gold price has gone up by 20-30%, even for a person who has taken a loan of 50,000, he is eligible for 10,000 more rupees loan. Now there is tried and tested model of branch guys calling customers, but the volume or scalability is not much. While the efficiency or the conversion rate is high, it will not. He would not be able to ensure that most of the loans gets operated on the same day. Now there is a second model where we send a WhatsApp notification or respective communication to the people, but not all of them understand. Then we did an interesting thing on the customer segmentation. What we did was we did based on the city's age and type of the people, we had filtered and put those respective people for the calling, and the set of the people who have taken doorstep gold loan, especially the customers who are tech savvy, who understand nuances of digital and adoption for that. So those guys, we have sent a digital communication. In fact, it worked out wonders. The top up rate this time when we had is 3.4 times better than the one which when we have tested on the last time approach. Either we did both approaches last time for the mass, but this time we have focused and did a customized segmentation, and then it worked out for us.
So I think customers also more and more accepting of new options and ways of connecting with the financial services players. So we need to open that up. Diving a bit deeper into this, is serving and acquiring a customer the biggest challenge in front of you today? How do you see the interplay between these playing out, right? For some, it seems to be separate, but a lot also think about this as a strong interconnected construct. And how do you see this evolving? This whole flywheel of serving, acquiring, serving. Kapil, I'll bring you back into the discussion. You serve a very unique set of customers. What's your view on this?
Sure. So I think for us, the greatest challenge there has been the misalignment that happens sometimes with your product offering and the customer's needs there. So that is the greatest challenge. What we've been looking at is make sure that we do more and more of micro segmentation, because I think to us that's more and more essential right now. Also to kind of better understand the customer's needs here, we've been looking at kind of taking our customer support channels and communication platforms and integrating them well with our CRM solutions so that we can actually customize the customer's experience well. Also, we're trying to kind of try and find like a smaller set of people for whom we can have a precise product or a service or a product feature that matters to them. So overall, just doing this thing in a very consistent manner, tuning into the customer's sentiment, and kind of continuously improving their experience. That's how we are kind of looking at solving it from our side.
And in these moments where, as you say, disconnects happen, etc., how do you think about service recovery? It's also part of the experience.
Yes. Yeah, I think it's a challenge that we are trying to continuously kind of refine there. So it's still a work in progress.
Yeah. Rishabh, you were also earlier mentioning that this is an interesting interplay that you look at. Care to share some experiences?
So acquiring customer certainly the biggest challenge right now. So there are a lot of organizations out there who are providing the competitive set of products. The key success metric for the same is to design products around customers. So the same thing which the co-panelist echoed. So if a customer has short-term working capital requirement, why to try to push a term loan out 12 months to him? He can be better off with a short-term invoice financing kind of product. To reach out to the customers who are better off with the assisted kind of model. We do more than 100 branches across India. And apart from this, the segments where we do not have any presence, we do have various partners who understand that particular market very well. Apart from this, for customers who are pretty much tech savvy, we have direct to customer interface to acquire those customers where we can just provide the loan to that customer in 5 to 7 minutes. Apart from this, in our mobile application also, customer have an option to pay to the vendors from the same mobile application, and his credit line gets utilized every time he makes a payment to the same vendors. So we had prepared our use cases around customer requirements, not going otherwise basically. And another key is to justify the huge cost of customer acquisition is to calculate the entire lifetime value. If you're not able to retain the customer for a good amount of time, then the whole this would certainly going to impact our bottom lines. So for this, it's very important to serve them well. So we have built a kind of omni-channel experience for the customer to take care of all their servicing requirements. Basically, the customer can get to know their loan statuses, loan details. He can make the EMI payments through WhatsApp bot, through web interface, or through walking into any of the branches. So we try to minimize the visits to branches which he need to make, or try to minimize the calls he need to make to the call center. We try to provide him a lot of do-it-yourself kind of tools where he can take care of entire servicing requirements on his own without calling you.
No, thanks, Rishabh, and that triggers a thought of saying, as you are serving these customers, bearing that cost of acquisition, with the end goal of lifetime value to create the overall ROI, and then it's a profit-making organization that we are in. How do you see the interplay with partners in your distribution model? Because since morning we've been talking about co-lending, etc., but there are also a lot of partnerships on the distribution side, and the dynamics of who will really own the customer, and what are the implications of this dynamic on NBFCs?
So partnership model is going to stay, and it's gonna grow up to a great extent. Basically, what I feel in the future. So regarding who is gonna own the customer, I feel the intermediary or the participant in the entire chain who provides most of the value to the customer is gonna own the customer, and that's perfectly fine, because in most of the cases it's the partner who is front ending the customer, and they are providing most of the value to the customer basically. For us, it's having partner on our side is good, because we get to access the markets in which we are not present, and we support our partners by providing the seamless tech integrations and servicing to their customers. In return, partners bring us with more business in future. There's a whole premise.
That's a, by the way, how does that then start creating a pressure on churn or retention of the customer? Have you been facing those challenges, and if so, how are you solving through other user experiences in the lifetime of the customer? Any thoughts there? So, even with the digital lending guidelines of the RBI recently, so as a lender, we are getting more and more visibility the entire lifetime of a customer, whether it's being sourced through partners or landed on our website directly. So servicing is certainly the responsibility of the U Group, and we, as I mentioned in previous question also, so we have provided a lot of tools for the customer so that he can service better. If a partner is not able to provide the better services, even the U Group is on his side to service him better, and thus we are ensuring that customer remains. Yeah. So we are ensuring that customer remains with the U Group basically for lifetime. And it's always on the top of the mind. Euro remains on the top of the mind of the customer as a lender, preferred choice of lender in future. Well, if only all FS players were so quick to respond to customer feedback and hold up the mic so fast. That agility would be great. That was on the lighter note. Kapil, the sense of ownership also leads to some questions around what does ownership mean, and the translation to pertinent questions on data privacy, etc. Because as you start saying, I'm owning the customer. So how do you see that as an issue or a trade-off between the data that you own, the privacy of the customer, and the experiences that you offer? How do you think NBFCs are handling it, and how are you doing?
So I think it's a very fine trade-off that you have to maintain between making sure that the customer has a great experience and the kind of uh, data management that you have to do around privacy and security. So I think for us, we've been making sure that I think we are creating tighter information security controls. I think that's very important now, especially since we are at kind of a fintech. We are adopting multiple clouds, and obviously it helps us to have multiple clouds because we can kind of like optimize our cost, but and also it helps us to get like an extra layer of security there. But that also makes our operations very complex, and so we've been kind of also making sure that we invest in data analytics and kind of cloud tools so that we can manage a lot of that risk. We're also kind of making sure that in our organization we have capabilities and mindsets around like a zero trust architecture, so that we can kind of safeguard the data of the customer. I mean, any data breach is very costly. Like even if you look at in 2022, a average data breach costed organizations about like 18 crores. So that's a lot of things. And apart from that, you also get kind of the reputation harm and the demand shock that happens. So I think so it's a very fine trade-off that you have to maintain. But I think go for your data security, invest in analytics, and make sure that there is a kind of a zero trust architecture culture in your organization, and you're custodian of the customer's data, so you should be kind of protecting it well.
Thanks, Kapil. Swapnil, as you think of engaging the customer over their lifetime and the lifetime experience, what are the challenges you are facing on data privacy and treading this fine balance?
Yep. So again, my customers probably it will be 4 or 5 years or 3 years before they actually come to realize what can be done with their data. So first thing is moral obligation that I cannot, there is no way that I can or anyone can allow misuse of any data, right? And we have enough technology to take care of that. Right now, for instance, we are undergoing an exercise where the PII, the personal identifier data, we are going to hide it by using a contextual model. So for instance, my person on the ground, do they need to actually look at the customer's bureau report after the disbursal of the loan, right? Probably they don't, because once it is done, so we'll hide it. So that is the technology side of it. But what I really struggle with is this thing, and Kapil, you used a very good word right now. You said custodians of the data, not the owners. I've been struggling since morning because everyone's asking who owns the customer. Nobody owns the customer here. Does Facebook own you? I mean, it does probably. But other than that, I don't understand this concept of owning at all. There has to be a consent architecture, right? However, the financial transactions that, okay, I gave you this much money on this date, that's not even customers, that's civilizations. I mean, Aurangzeb killed Dara Shikoh, that piece of information nobody owns, right? This is a piece of history. So that data account aggregator is coming now, right? So that's available to everyone. The fee that they will charge for it will probably be for the upkeep of the technology and the records and all, right? So financial transactions, things that people can and should know about you, maybe they are public with some amount of protection, but the use of your data or customers' data for creating new records in the civilization cannot be done without consent. So I don't understand ownership, I only understand custodianship.
Shiva, your thoughts on this whole debate or the discussion that we are having on being the custodian of the data? How do you handle that fine balance and still deliver great personalized experiences?
Right. So I'll start with an analogy. All of us drive the cars, right? So if most of the time we see what is the power, what is the torque, what is the maximum speed for the car, which I would call it as an innovation customer experience. Now, if you actually see the portals like Car Deco or any specific car portals, you would find maybe 3-4 for acceleration points, but you would find 10 to 12 for brake and safety standards. So I would actually say data privacy comes under that. If any one of you are given a car keys of BMW which doesn't have brakes, will you drive it fast? Will you drive it at least? So no, right? That's exactly the importance of the data privacy. While the innovation is numerator, you need to have a subsequent denominator of data privacy to take it further. And interestingly, the innovation can be used to fuel data privacy. I'll tell you one classic example. Long back, all of us used to give the Aadhaar card, PAN card, Xeroxes with post signing on it to the people. And even the banks or any other companies, after that, they store it in their warehouse. Just compare that to your Aadhaar, which you are punching in, which gets masked and encrypted and stored in a separate server, which the employees also cannot touch it upon. So, which is more secure here? So, it is not that if innovation goes up, the data privacy is at risk. We can use innovation and customer experiences to tackle the data privacy problems as well. So that's how I see it. And while there are some ifs and buts, but if we give a thought and with the innovation, we can actually solve the data privacy problem as well.
And that's I think there are times when regulatory imports on data privacy have motivated innovation, but also great to know that you're proactively also thinking of using innovation to be the right custodians and deliver on that moral obligation. Uh, Balaji, I want to just bring you in into the discussion and say, and this would be one of the last as we're coming to the end of our time allotted to us. Usage of this data to create that hyper personalization, it's generally been a dream to deliver experiences at the unit of one, right? And not just a segment or so on or a persona, but at a unit of one, deliver an experience. How do you see the way forward for hyper personalization with all this obligation also that we have? And how is the current tech and emerging technologies helping NBFCs deliver on this dream?
Very nice, very valid one for the current contest. If you see, the customers are there in all the channels, so we should be mostly into digital, omni-channel, digital, everywhere we should be in a present because our customer there everywhere. So for me, digital, whichever customer comes, I can able to take care of it. But thing is, customer can come do some off transactions and then they go and take the mobile and see what is the balance action they can able to carry forward. So for us, whichever channel it is, we need to take care, and customer can go to the other channels from wherever they dropped. So this, if you can able to achieve, I think that one personalization you can able to do it. Second thing is understand the customer much better and better because the amount of data we collect from the customer is humongous. None other industry doesn't collect so much of data, but NBFCs and bank collects so much of data like KYCs, the bank statements, salaries, owners, everything we collect it. Can we able to keep personalize more and more for him the offering? Can we create a pattern upon it? So there are a lot of AI tools are available. So keep using a lot of AI tools to analyze it and then give them the more personalized experience. So this can be a one way. Second is one is AI, another is do a lot of data analytics based on whatever the data you collected. Suppose you collect under different fields of a customer, see what kind of patterns are emerging from various data tools you have. So this is another personalization you can able to offer to the customers. Third thing is like, first of all, the shift need to be there from a different standpoint, like you are talking to a customer rather than a borrower. So that shift we need to always have it with us. So if that shift is there, then the offering will be much more to the customers. So these are three takeaways for me. The other tools like blockchains and everything, whichever you can able to do a lot of POCs and see whether how it's going to help you.
I think what I'm also hearing is as technology is emerging and more use cases are coming, keeping the customer at heart and thinking how you deliver those experiences, but at the same time respect the privacy, have that consent. Swapnil, I'm sure you are also grappling with similar questions on personalization.
Right. So personalization, yes. So for instance, I'm now trying to build a loan management system that can cater to the cash flow of the livelihood that I'm supporting. So for instance, if somebody is rearing goats to be sold 5 months later, whatever their cash flow is, according to whenever they get money, I should get money. It's not like there is an obligation that they are just to service their loan, they have to take another loan from somebody else and all that, right? So that is the hyper localization from this side. But at the same time, that question about how do you protect and this, So, for instance, I was in the audience since morning, and all the different NBFCs have been saying this, but nobody answered it from the stage actually, not answered but addressed. So, Google Play Store, for instance, has recently come up with policies like when the customer wants to delete the data, then you have to delete the data. But again, can you delete the data that you are supposed to keep for 10 years, right? Similarly, they have said that financial services apps that provide loan, they cannot upload images from gallery of the phone. They have to use camera. Otherwise, Play Store will not allow that app. Now, what are they doing? Or, I mean, I'm sure they have good intentions. But what I'm saying is that when we use technology and innovation for data privacy as well as hyper-localization, hyper-personalization, we've got to be very, very careful that we are not doing broad strokes, right? That defeats the whole idea of personalization and also security. So I think everyone has their part to play. Google has a part to play as their technology. RBI has a part to play as their regulators, and we guys as innovators. And we've got to be very careful about, we shouldn't be burning a maths book to solve a problem of maths, right? So.
Thanks, Swapnil.
I think when the data policy law comes, I think one more role will be inevitable, which is the data protection officer. So when this law comes, then the data protection officer role will be much more there, who takes care of all this.
Well, I hope we manage the balance between control functions and customer centricity with another layer coming through. I think we have a couple of minutes. Maybe we can take a question or two from the audience. Yes, my friend in that table was very quick to raise the hand. Can someone get a mic to him?
Play Store is not allowing a lot of personalized information to be captured, right? In the same way, from May 31st onwards or from June 1st onwards, you can't collect the personalized data, you can't collect the contact details, contact list. What is the way forward? How an unsecured digital lending or platform can capitalize, or what is the solution for that? Because when you don't collect any kind of contact list or name or your personalized detail, what is the recovery
First
mechanism?
of all, you are lending based on collecting the other data, or what is your policy there? Because your policy shouldn't be, I will collect all the contact number, I need to lend. That policy will not sustain, certainly. Okay, your policy need to be changed. I don't want any other data, only customer data I need it to lend it. I don't need his mother, father, nothing, because all this only has given all this Chinese app intervention.
Actually, you need to know their mother. You know why? Because you have to post the CKYC ID, and CKYC ID needs the mother's name. So yes, relevant data. Yeah, but again, I'm saying, what business does a tech provider have to play the regulator?
No,
and the way forward, I think, is to just forums like these and raise this up.
I think this is a deeper debate and needs a broader set of stakeholders to really have any, and I won't end on a panel discussion for sure. But thanks for raising it up. I think my friend here also had a question. Go for it.
My name is Anand. Good evening. So we are living in ChatGPT, AI, ML world, and technology hijacking. I want to understand how customer engage is directly related to customer loyalty. See, now people are having multiple options, whether this I'm getting this price, so much of things happening in pricing point. How organization want to engage or manage the customer so many years? I want to understand how you engage with the customer in digital platform.
How do you keep a lending customer engaged over a long period of time?
Can I take one point in?
Broadly, that's what you're asking?
Yes, absolutely.
So we do one metrics called customer wallet score. So what we do is, we offer multiple financing product for the customers. So with the same customers, how can I maximize? For me, whichever loan he needs, be it a business loan or personal or credit, whatever it is, you need to come to me. So that's my objective. So I have a customer wallet share. I keep engaging with the customers frequently. I have his entire information. I talk to him for his each birthday, his spouse birthday, his kid's birthday. I keep engaging with him and see how long I can able to prolong and take much more loan offering from him. So that's one metrics I do it right.
You mean to say a lot of hooks, a lot of cross-sell to engage, occupy the clients? Yeah, I am a banker. Say I sell RD, I sell home loan, I sell EMF to engage or to hooks the customer. I just want to understand how NBFC functions. No, just to understand how engagement, apart from that product line. So banks is give selling so many product to the clients. I want to understand how NBFCs.
I do have a virtual relationship manager for all my accounts. A VRM is assigned for each and every customer for it. The VRM role is, we have designed a system where the call comes, they keep talking to the customers and keep engaging them on a frequent basis and see how is that well-being and everything.
So Balaji, are you saying it's this consistent same individual reaching out to the customer time and again, rather than some ghost behind the call every time a different ghost?
For me, there is a VRM assigned to each and every customer. We call them virtual relationship manager. He takes care of the customer.
Interesting. That's, I think that's one of the solution. We're really out of time.
One important point that I wanted to make,
Please.
especially Kapil.
Okay, last one.
See, we have been talking about customer experience. Now we are also talking about the OCEN network, which should create APIs which should facilitate easier interaction between the various stakeholders in the market. I think that evolution is going on. How will the development of the OCEN network and its common APIs change the customer experience in the future?
Kapil, it's to you.
I think, I mean, with an API design that's coming up, I think what it allows organizations is to compose solutions that are very targeted to a particular segment, and then kind of you can have a user experience that is different for a different customer segment, but while your kind of the technology on the back end, it kind of supports all of that. So the ability to kind of like do micro segmentation, at least in my perspective, is kind of really elevated once we have such APIs coming. So that would be a lot of advantage that will come from that technical infrastructure that will be available.
I think in terms of any public infrastructure, if rightly done, will just allow, it will democratize innovation for a lot of other players to then build on it, versus the entry barrier of first finding that standardization or getting multiple stakeholders first onto an integrated platform. I think that's the core philosophy of what UPI enabled and what ONDC will enable or OCEN will enable. So on that note, thank you so much, everyone. I think it's been a very engaging conversation. This is a topic we can go down the rabbit hole on each of these topics. We consciously stayed away from generative AI because we would have spent the day here on just that, or we may have realized we just need 5 ChatGPT models here and not the panelists. So we wanted to protect our jobs, but thank you for your patience. I think definitely I'll leave with a couple of thoughts and close this. Think about customers and think about why not. I think that's interesting. Lens to take. Think about lifetime experience of what you're creating, and there is embedded ROI, there is embedded customer impact out there, and think about solutions and innovations proactively versus only solving for them when forced through regulation. With some of those thoughts, thank you so much for the opportunity to talk to you all. Thanks.